Armada regular council meeting will now come to order. Will everyone rise for the pledge of allegiance to the flag, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you kindly. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Shaw.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Conan.
Yep.
Wolock.
Here.
Belkey.
Here.
Sledge is absent. Ballard.
Yep.
Next is the approval of the agenda. What's the council's wishes, please?
Did you need
I'm
to
gonna
take
need
that
to,
out?
yeah, I'm gonna pull new business item A. I'm still working on the quote, so it's not ready yet.
Mr. President, I move that the agenda be accepted as amended.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
The motion carried. At this time, the citizen comments is open up to the floor to address the council. 3 minutes for the record. And state your name, please. No addressing? Very good, we'll move on. There's no presentations tonight. Administrative reports. What is the council's wishes to the reports?
I have one on the planning commission. You guys have the minutes there. We reviewed sections 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then on the B issue, we did some research, all of us went from the planning commission, talked to different people and called different cities and stuff, and it's a no-go. It's not gonna happen here in Armada. There's a restriction of, I think it's 8 acres is the minimum that you have to have. The insurance
That's an item
is a
in
big one.
consideration.
Yeah, the insurance is.
A lot of insurance policies restrict you from
There was a
having.
lady that wanted to possibly raise bees in Armada.
B-O-B.
Beekeeping.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned it.
Yeah, so that's a no-go. That's all I have from the planning commission, unless you guys have any questions.
Any other?
Yep, just a couple items here. The dehumidifier that we bought for the water treatment plant, which is 35,000 square feet building, is doing so great that we're gonna go and purchase 3 much smaller dehumidifiers for each of the well houses. When that thing is on, it stops all the sweating of the pipes, of the manifold, of the tanks, which will prevent us from having to go in and repaint the whole thing in another 5 years. So, and get the DPW to clean up the rust in the places that we have this winter and repaint, and then those dehumidifiers should keep the places all dry. So, costs, we've gone out, Audriana and I have gone out, looked at a number of different companies, and cost for these 3 with shipping in this case, we're not gonna be able to go get it, is about $2,200. So we'll go ahead and go with that. That said, Audriana's got a couple updates on the Eagle Directed Water Sampling Program and some items for sale at the DPW. Please.
So this is, we don't have it in this one, but at the next meeting we'll be talking about items we're putting for sale in bid court. There's 3 items from the DPW that they're not using anymore. The generator trailer would go to the wastewater department. The truck bed tool caddy and the truck bed cover would go to the general fund, and then the tapping machine would go to the water department. And then included are 2 different papers about the non-routine water sampling that I talked about last time. The first paper is a timeline from FMB of when everything's going to be done, just like different dates and what they're planning on doing by then to get everything ready. And then also included is the price for each of the tests that they're doing, that they were quoted. They are ordering them now. They're approved to get them ordered so that they can get the testing done in time.
The sheet just gives you an idea of what these tests cost, and so this is something that we have to do every, generally it comes around in the summer. Some tests are mandated, other times during the year, but there's a cost to these things. They don't happen on their own. And so in this case, it's about $1,800 to conduct all these tests. Two other items, just a note that Water Department's gonna have an open house at the water treatment plant on Saturday, 23 July, 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. We're just gonna put an announcement out there for the local residents to come out and take a look at it if they're interested. I suspect I'll get questions on water billing and what we're using the money for. Adriana's going to explain how the system works, and so we're working on that right now. Should be interesting. Everybody obviously is invited. And then last thing that I want to bring up is we've talked about this a couple times before about succession planning or continuity of operations planning. Joe's getting ready to leave again at the end of August. I did go and talk to Joe today about what her thoughts were on that. I'm going to turn it over to you at this point. And are you pondering still?
No. But you want my thoughts on my leaving?
Well,
Soon enough.
Joe had said she was going to leave at the end of August, but I think you're reconsidering.
Yeah, I was just assuming that someone would want my job by that point. In any case, whatever date that I leave, I will be available for training because, for one thing, right now I'm probably going to have to stretch it out a little bit because it's tax time. Taxes will be due and collected by September 15th. And then after that comes the hardest part, which is the tax settlement process with the county. So I will definitely be here available for that. We do have someone else coming in place, but I'm not just going to figure it out. So,
Thank you.
Barring any issues.
yeah, well, Michelle would.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, barring any issues, I think she's planning on staying until the election.
Unless we get somebody
Unless somebody comes in.
Again, let's make the announcement that the treasurer's position is available. Obviously, Joe is retiring or trying to retire. The job is, you can call my office. We can, discuss what the job entails. It is an elected position, but if you apply now and start now, you'll be appointed, but you will have to run in November. The term is every 2 years. It's part-time. It's a good job for somebody that has accounting background. Obviously, that would be great. But for, maybe a mom that's been staying home for a couple of years to raise her kids and you're looking for something part-time while your kids are in school and you have that background, we're definitely interested in talking to anybody. So, come on in.
So, in the event that nobody from the community steps up,
You need to be a village resident as of this moment.
right,
So,
and in the event that no resident steps up that would run to the office, and I believe you gotta have your petitions in by the 26th of...
you could be a write-in.
Which would be a write-in.
Yeah, you could be a write-in because that's October 30th or 28th or something.
Yeah.
The election's what, November the 8th?
November the 8th.
But in the event that nobody runs, then we can hire somebody, can't we?
We would have to
There's a process
adopt
you
an
have to file,
ordinance
yeah.
establishing the position as an appointed position. And I think we had the question come up, can you do the clerk and the treasurer separately? And the answer to that is yes.
Well, my question is this. If we hire or appoint someone from outside the village, so they don't fit the prescribed criteria, but we have to do that, will they be just like a normal employee where they would come under the same benefit package and things that our DPW guys do?
It's not a
It's
full-time
not full-time,
position.
so you won't have a full contract or anything.
Okay.
But it would be an employee. It would
Yes,
be an
it would be an
employment
employee.
relationship.
But it may be some benefits, such as, Becky's not a full-time
Right.
employee, but we do give her some benefits.
Well, I think at that point, have to establish a negotiation committee, you guys would have to decide,
I think you'd
your
have-
path going
I
forward.
think you have to decide what those are before you start to recruit.
Yeah, well, we definitely have to have a job description.
Right.
We are bound by charter, Joe and I both, obviously separately. So those, that criteria, would need to be met because there's statutory duties to our jobs.
We've been trying to get somebody since you announced it.
Yeah,
And we just have been, I've talked to a lot of people.
it's now in the paper weekly.
I
We've been
think everybody
keeping it
else
in.
has too, and we just can't find anybody interested.
Yeah,
There's a couple people that have asked about it and inquired that, on this aspect of it and that aspect, but one does not live in the village, so
right,
I told the other one if they're interested, they need to get going now.
yeah.
Unless you guys want to already start the process, I mean, that wouldn't eliminate that person.
Well, we're gonna have to start the process either way. I think it's important to get, the statutory duties are very clear in general law, but,
In the treasurer's.
Well,
in the
especially if we
conform-
get by the
capacity.
26th, and nobody's,
Right.
but my point is maybe have that prepared. Maybe we do start, looking into the job criteria, have that ready. You guys had motioned a while ago on the pay. Again, it's part-time, So I just think it's important to at least start addressing it now. Because again, here, Joe had originally set a date and then August is coming up. August is in like 3 weeks. So we gotta, we gotta just not ignore it.
myself, I think you gotta look beyond, because I don't think anybody from the community's stepping up. At least they haven't.
Yeah,
Does
They
the
have-
election have any bearing on whether you can proceed with it if it, someone
Yeah,
pulls a petition?
Yeah, I don't think you can, somebody files to run, I don't think you can, they're gonna have
Change
a
it.
right to run, you can't.
yes.
Yeah.
So they would get at least whatever the term is for 2 years.
Mhm.
And in that 2-year period, then you could switch it to a hired or appointed position.
Yeah, just
But,
start the process earlier
I
than,
think to Dave's point, once you know that no one is filed or
Right.
Well,
wanting
that's
to
what
do the
we've been
running,
waiting
then
for.
I think you should start to get your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And fill it as soon as you can.
Will this have to be a referendum?
No, so the way it works, we did this once or twice
Mm-hmm.
in the past. Under the General Law Act, council would pass an ordinance that would basically say, this will be a non-elected position. And that, once that ordinance is passed, Lyle, then the community can raise a petition up to challenge it and send it to a vote of the people. But
I think that's what
again,
happened
the weird
last
thing
time.
is
Yeah.
if no one's gonna run, then I
Yeah.
doubt very much someone's gonna petition to get no one to
Yeah.
run. So
Right,
It's what, 10%?
it's pretty small, but
Yeah.
I think the fact that we have not drawn any interest, I think,
Warrants it.
it really would be illogical to them.
It's just not the job I want somebody to retire out of when we don't have a plan to replace her immediately. I mean, we can pull on the auditor or some other finance, that's not the right word, some company that's able to step in potentially and do it for a while, but it's gonna be high cost and they're not gonna stay. So we
or
gotta
maybe
be
train
thinking
somebody
about,
that's gonna train somebody. But,
right.
yeah. Yeah.
Things
So,
like that.
Becky's showed some interest that she could do it if necessary.
I hate
Okay.
to lose Becky in her position.
Yeah, unfortunately, what that would entail is, that changes the dynamic of who does what in the office.
Well, of
You know,
course it does.
And it would be,
We might have to
it would
have-
just be two of us then,
well,
it's
then
like,
we'd have to
hire another person.
pardon me?
We'd have to hire
Yeah,
another
and that would have to be a conversation you have with Becky. Yeah. But I still think, at least just, looking at the charter, putting it in layman's terms, so it's very understandable for everybody, including somebody you potentially, that we potentially interview. There's just things you're mandated by law to do. I mean, you have to follow the charter. But you know,
So what, say mid-September, you start working in earnest on, what's the job description?
I
what
would
would
say,
you
I would
offer?
say
I'd
do
say
that before
August.
that. I'd say that, do that anytime
August.
now. At least just have it ready, and then if somebody puts a petition in, which they're due on the 24th or the 26th.
It's the
Yes.
28th of October.
No,
Oh,
for now,
Election.
Yeah.
for election, then at least you have it ready. You know, I mean, you don't know, somebody might take the job and decide after 2 years, this isn't for me, and, you know, we're gonna be in the
Yeah.
same boat again.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe that there's no one out there that, you know,
Well, it's.
it's a great job for a mom.
Yeah,
You
but
know, it
it's,
just is, that's why
it's
Joe and
not
I both
highly
did it.
technical though, we're just like water department, sewer department, just because we're a small municipality, doesn't mean we don't have to live up to all of the same things.
No, you do,
that
but
larger-
let's face it, anybody can run.
Oh,
You know, if you're hiring, you can be, you know, you can
put
look-
your name in the
yeah,
hat, right?
yeah.
And
Well,
and
that's
run,
a
but
duty.
it's not insignificant duties.
Right, no, it's
And
not,
and they're
it's very
important.
important, yeah,
Yeah.
and, you know, I don't want it.
So,
So-
but I'm glad, Joe, that you're gonna kinda,
No, I
weather
don't
the
think it'll
gap
be
here.
good now.
it makes it a little bit easier for us to decide what we're gonna do without you going in August and then trying to fill a
No,
void
we need to start
for
now,
several months, so.
yeah.
But Michelle's got a great point, we need to start thinking about
Yeah.
it.
I just don't wanna be, you know, looking at November, and then the election's come and gone, and Joe is truly then out of office.
Yeah.
You know, then you're stuck.
At some point, you're gonna say, I'm tired of you guys and I'm out of here,
Well,
so.
and she's trying to retire, I would love for her to be able to do that. So,
Very good.
All right.
That's sufficient, I believe.
Mr. President, I do have a police report.
Yes, sir.
The traffic-related traffic stops, we had 26 in June. There was no assaults. Assisted EMS 9 times. Assist other agencies 5 times. Suspicious situation, there was 4. Civil dispute, there was 1. There was no dog or animal complaints, no disturbances. One alarm for an open door. Domestic disturbance was 1, lockouts were 0, death investigations were 0, juvenile related 5, damage to property 0, mental distress situation 0, warrants for arrest 0, miscellaneous calls for service 9, missing persons 0, other initiated officer initiated activities 0, lost and found property 0, 1 theft. There's no fraud as of June 30th, 2022. The miles on patrol car 431 were 75,300. 432 is the F-150 is 6,477, and the unmarked Dodge was 62,824. We also have some activities here that the police department had. The police department completed the state-required firearms recertification for all officers in June. In prior years, the department went to Perch Point Outdoor Range. This year, the chief made arrangements with Sheriff Wickersham to use the Macomb County Sheriff's Range. The Sheriff's Department provided the range and range instructor at no charge. We only had to provide the ammunition that we used. Using the sheriff's range did not only provide a better facility, but flexibility in the qualifications, and there are over 2 days, the qualifications were over 2 days, so everyone could fit their schedule in. The chief has ordered a new radar signs right after the council meeting when they were approved. Custom signals, has told the chief that it would be a 30-day lag before the units are shipped. I have determined the location on East and West Main Street where the chief will put the radar units. He will also provide the unit on northbound Fulton to the new speed sign near Depot Street. On June 15th, 2022 at 11:30 hours, the chief responded to a call of small children left in a car while the parents shopped in Vickier's Market. I responded and stopped the car as it was leaving. Investigation determined it was a 64-year-old grandmother left her 9-month and 3-year-old grandchild in the car while she shopped for 6 minutes. The temperature was 90 degrees that day. A warrant request is pending at the Macomb County Sheriff's Office. On June 24, 2020, or excuse me, 2022, the chief responded to Larry's Automotive on South End for a larceny from the vehicle. Larry had told him that sometime in the past 2 days, persons unknown removed a catalytic converter from a motorhome parked on the west end of Armada Grain retail store by the DPW dumpster. In his experience with Clinton Township police, catalytic converters thefts are usually done by organized rings, and the fact this happened in the village is concerning. The area was put on special attention. As you know, we have little theft in the village. That's my report. Cheryl, here's the 2 sign copies.
I have them.
You got my sign? Is it signed?
Well, I can, no, I have them. If you want to give me signed ones, that's fine.
Yeah.
Do you want my plain ones?
No, I got them.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Valerie.
Well, I can get it after the meeting.
Already up.
Anyone else? Further comment? We're gonna move on to general business. The consent agenda, pardon me.
Mr. President, I will move the consent agenda be accepted as presented.
Also includes the payment.
Support?
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain.
From the minutes?
Yes.
Number 2, old business. Mr. Clark,
Yep.
surplus your department.
Yep. Restoration number 2 is done. We were unhappy with the first time they restored the property, so we came back out and did a much better job this time. We're just waiting for some rain for the grass seed. Some power washing is going on at the facility in the next couple of days. Inside cleaning continues now that the construction traffic is done traipsing through the plant and doing various things. We acquired a couple of plastic dumpsters for the grit room to take the place of the old steel units where the casters were all bad, and it was a real job manhandling things to be able to put them on the skid steer and dump them. So other than that, everything's done, and hopefully I won't have to do any sewer plant updates anymore. So,
Tell me when you want me to take it up.
yeah.
That'd be great. Well, thanks, Mr. Clark. New business, a quote for connecting the water tower electric to the fire department.
We pulled that.
That's all.
We pulled that.
Okay, I'm sorry. And then the water treat, water maintenance.
I put that on the agenda because I'm hoping that people will start watering the trees that are in distress. Mike Tandesky, who is a tree expert, had called me and said he didn't know who to contact, but the trees are dying. And we did a lot of work on those trees in the village.
And we got
Ross
some very,
knows,
very
right?
generous gifts on those.
Yeah.
You've had some announcements on that, I think, on Facebook and there.
Yeah, we need to continue that, and hopefully people will understand that even though we planted those trees, they're on their property, and hopefully they take care of them.
Yeah, we actually the ones in the right of way, so they're in front of your house, that's sort of your obligation to. You're gonna enjoy it, so.
Down the park of the DPW guys watering those, or?
They haven't, he recommended that we get D&E landscaping. That's what, when I talked to Dave about it, that was his recommendation. But I don't know if, especially now if this guy couldn't, if they'll have enough time to do it, but they sure should be doing it because it's the same thing, those trees struck.
Right.
Well, and there are trees, we have to decide how to get it done, So, the landscape companies are really, really busy right now. I don't know that they could guarantee if they could be here in the village that often to get them watered. We have equipment now available.
Yeah, I was down at the DPW today, dog man, and asked Vic, who was on duty, and he said they still have a large tank or blivet, water blivet in the 10-cent barn that they could remount on their two-wheel trailer that they've got down there and potentially tow that around the water. They could also use the mechanisms that they're using to water the flowers in the downtown area. So they do have the ability to do it. I think,
It's just the manpower and the hours in the day to get things done.
Well, we gotta say that's $7,000 worth of trees just in the park, plus all the trees
Yeah.
that we planted in
The right
the
of way.
village.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, we have a couple hundred trees that
So
need water.
maybe, even if they can try to prioritize and let something else go, street sweeping, I know Dave, I talked about that, I know it's important, but it's not as important as
Can
saving.
you
Yeah,
save
they
the
need to
trees?
save the trees.
Yeah.
So I'm sure with Audrina being around, I'll see Dave tomorrow. He's had the day off today, so I'll talk to him and ask him if he can get that bladder, water bladder, put back on the trailer and start doing it.
Yeah, we don't want to lose them.
We'll find out if he's got any objections. I don't know that he does.
David also talked to me about this. The thing is, we have thought about this 3 or 4 years ago too. Like any part-timer or something. And now we're down to 2. I mean, it's a bad of 3. So what are we gonna have to do? So that's why I told Michelle, get the sign out immediately, which she did. So, and the ads also for warrants.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, if with Aaron going, and you hate to hire somebody and then somebody else comes and shows up and we hire them in a month and now the part-timer that you hired is gone, but we may want to do that.
Well, I think we've gotten 2 resumes in, applications in.
You got to cut off or?
I did not put a cutoff on it, not yet.
And when did they come in?
Last week, yeah. Yeah, last week, because I think that was the first week of the, yeah, it was, because that's when we found out.
I just asked because I didn't hear about it.
Oh, they're just in my, yeah, I've got one, I think. I don't know if Becky's got it, or if you've got it, yeah.
Mr. President, have we done an exit interview with Mr. Woolman?
No, we haven't.
I think we should do that.
I don't believe we can talk about that over the table now.
No, I mean,
You know,
just,
it's not just,
okay.
I have possibly some personal that I could talk,
Okay.
not to an individual. That's not John. But to be very, very limited.
And also, your time for the exit interview is usually before they leave.
Well, he's done the end of this week. I
Oh,
think.
okay, he's still
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
He's still here.
Yeah.
15.
The
Yeah.
15th.
so that's Friday.
A list is hope that it doesn't run like before. And we're willing to take a look at it, maybe a little deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got, like I said, we got 2 applications, and that's fastest we've ever done that. When Ed was leaving, the last time we hired, it took forever to get
I would
any.
like to actually maintain our committee, which would be Mr. Cronin, Miller, and myself on the hirings. So we'll get them immediately. And we got something, I mean, we can start.
Yeah.
And looking at it.
Good.
So with interviews,
Who's on that committee? You and Lyle, and who?
Lyle and David.
Dave.
Well, you gotta catch him before he takes it.
Yeah, we need to do this before the 22nd of
Absolutely.
President instills all vacations.
I'll have to go for you, Dave, I'm
All
sorry.
leaves are canceled.
Don't bring her back, wait.
Well, you know, I am gonna study the water system in Iceland to see if we can bring some improvements here.
Bring the
to
ice
our
cubes
main-
back.
Fact-finding mission.
Yeah, that's what it
Yeah,
is.
so,
Very good.
This is good for the community.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Well, before we move on, I'd like to just kind of reiterate to the public that if you were fortunate enough to get one of the beautiful trees that the village offered everybody last year and in through this spring in front of your house, please be responsible. Drag your garden hose out there, put it on a slow drip, let it go for a while until those roots are saturated, and you can save the life of that tree. So if you would do that, that would solve a lot of the problems.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Very good, thank you. Let's see here, up and coming agenda items.
I'm gonna try to bring that quote in. Back on the water tower electrifying the tower.
That didn't sound good.
No, it doesn't sound good.
That's not.
Yeah, water.
I'm gonna try to connecting the water tower to the fire department generator. I was trying to be brief, but
Yeah,
So that'll be
You know,
next
Michelle.
week.
yeah.
maybe next week.
Just checking.
The single waste hauling is still going on. They just interviewed GFL, so that's two companies that have come in and talked to us. I think this is our meeting number 8, if I'm not correct. So I'm hoping that by August, he's thinking that he might write up the contracts. And Jeff, I don't know if you've been in contact with their...
Yeah, I reviewed their first version, and that's how the ball kind of got rolling about interviewing these potential vendors. So, yeah, I'll be happy to review it, and I think we're kind of headed on the right direction now.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. So hopefully by August. So just keep in the back of your minds. We won't put it on the agenda yet because we don't have anything.
Yeah, I put it
It's
under
concrete.
your comments.
Did they give your committees any information as to how they got their fuel fee?
They did talk about that, and that would be written in the contract. They can write that in the contract, especially the way, because of, you know, how diesel's gone up and stuff. So they did look at all, you know, they looked at all those issues, I would say, and we would have that in front of us. You know, we'd have the contract in front of us. And the way they're gonna do it is, I think they're gonna do the village separate, the township separate, and then both of us together and see what's the most feasible. That's what they're looking at.
Sometimes on the fuel, Marv, what they'll do is, let's say we did like a 5 years. Well, for them, they're gonna bid high based on, I don't even know what diesel is. I know regular gas is $5, so diesel's got it. Yeah, so they'll build that in. So probably what they're looking at is possibly like an escalator clause, which allows them to maybe, if prices go up, they're allowed to increase that. If they go down, they're allowed to reduce it. Just because 5 years for them is a long-term commitment.
Right, and that's what they were looking at, a 5-year contract.
Yeah. So we'll take a look at that language in the bid specs, but I would imagine they'll want to build something in there that allows them to, you know, to adjust for that. Because right now, if we ask them to bid and it's a fixed charge without any accommodation, they're knowing what the current conditions are, they're going to bid high. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've been asked by several, how come it's delayed so long? And that, you know, one neighbor pays approximately $18, and the next one pays about 13.
Almost 100.
You know, and so they didn't think it was fair. The trucks that comes from this one goes to the next one, goes to the next one. Why are they all getting like 17, 18, and pretty soon somebody's getting 21?
Different companies.
No, he's saying the same company, but it depends on when they signed up on that company. One may have been on with that company for 10 years, and the other one just started
But
with.
that's not ours, that's between.
No, they're just asking, because we'll be involved.
Right.
That's their right. That is their right.
One of the things that I'm concerned with is that eventually we would probably get rid of our
No,
The
the
dump.
dumper.
try.
And we have to go to the public before we get this approved, if we did, in fact, you know. And I'm worried that we're gonna have so many people that would come there being negative, saying, well, we wanna save the dump. as opposed to looking at the whole picture. You
I
know,
don't
I'm
know.
just saying,
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong.
No,
Yeah, I
you're-
hope you're
I
wrong.
hope I'm wrong, but I can see that
A
happening.
lot of people use the dump, and they're not gonna wanna pay more on their taxes when they got this, they figure free.
Yeah.
Well, it's not free. It's paid for out of your taxes,
Yeah.
the dump. I mean,
The dump
it's
is-
tens of thousands of dollars a year.
But they're gonna charge you more for this individual thing than they're
Yes,
charging
yes,
you
you're
for that
probably,
dump.
you're.
But that will go on your taxes, that will be a bill to the homeowner.
Right, to
Yeah.
the homeowners, that's what we
Yeah.
Yeah,
discussed.
'cause we
Yeah.
worked on that for a long time to make sure that, you know.
Mike, and since we're talking transfer side, an issue that I would recommend you ask on is if they do away with the transfer site. I mean, there's a portion of your tax dollars that are going to pay for that now.
Right.
Is that
Will
gonna
they
go off?
reduce that, or are they gonna keep that on? My understanding, and I
They'll
don't
have to
have
reduce
anybody
it.
to quote,
No,
but my
they're
understanding
gonna
is,
keep-
no, they're just gonna keep it on
Put it towards
so you're-
something else.
and put it towards something else, and now you're paying now for garbage pickup at your house.
Yeah.
That's an elected
Exactly.
village, I don't think they can do that.
I don't know if it is elected.
It's just
I mean,
paid
it's
out
just
of
part
their
of their
general
general fund.
fund.
Jeff might know
Yeah, it's
that.
part of their
There's not a-
general fund.
Oh,
It's just part of their general
Yeah.
fund.
Okay,
Right.
no, then they can.
Yeah,
It's not a
because they can just
separate item.
reallocate
Yeah.
it.
I thought
But that's,
that-
I mean, that's a service you get now. I mean, when you ask about what are the services you get out of the township, that would be one I would say I get, and I'm
Right.
happy about. I would be willing to move to something else if I'm not paying for that now, and it's not being sucked up into some other part of the general fund there.
Right.
We've got a pretty healthy fund balance over there to begin with, so
Mhm.
what do they need it for?
Yeah, they do.
Well, thanks, Mr.
Okay.
for attending the meetings and bringing forward such information. Good.
Thank you.
Citizen comments is open to the floor again. Name, record. Council comments?
Yeah, I've got one. The old generator down at the sewer plant, we've decided, well, the company that came out to give the bids for checking out the generators, the guy pretty much said, don't get rid of that thing. And I know there's talk of wanting a generator here. So the thought, we've been kind of talking, right now the generator's been removed from the trailer. The trailer is the fuel tank for that. So there's talk about pouring a pad over here, putting a fence and trenching over it and doing whatever electrical work we need to do. But with that being said, then we would need a separate fuel container now, because the old one was part of the trailer and we're not gonna use the trailer.
Is that a diesel
Yes,
converted to natural gas? Just a thought.
That's tapped right here into the building. already.
That's an old generator.
That's
yeah,
okay.
it is. I guess,
Yeah,
well, I guess we'll find out what it would take to do that.
they said you can't buy something of that quality today
Exactly.
for the same amount of money. You wouldn't get anywhere close. So it's, we've got a trailer mounted generator as well. So the point is that we have an opportunity to put something here potentially to power up the building fully in an emergency, and you may have something
You want to
available.
put something right here?
Yeah, put it in the corner where they kept the K-9 unit, or a pad, put a fence around it to keep, people
The
out
trucks
there.
from hitting it.
But
No,
I guess I just
bigger-
want a kind of a
bigger-
consensus
bigger
for
swing.
us to keep checking into that.
I would.
I didn't think about the switching it over. We'll talk to somebody to see what that's gonna cost and,
Because I wonder about the EPA regulations on having a fuel tank over there.
Yeah, that, you would,
That's a big,
you would not be able to have.
I don't think so, right?
okay, well,
I dealt with that at the post office.
okay. Well,
What about-
I guess we'll check further on it,
Yeah, I
but
would
if
check.
everybody's of the consensus
Well,
that
it's a great
that seems
idea.
like something we wanna do with that, that we'll keep checking on that then.
Yeah.
So-
And also is there a noise element also?
Well, there's
That's
gonna be some
right.
noise.
But
You
not-
can't get around it without having.
And
Not
now
generator.
we have a generator in the
Yeah,
neighborhood's
town.
gonna be on at the same
Yeah.
time,
Not
so.
only that, that would be on only in emergency or
Right,
test
yeah.
situations. so
Right.
That wouldn't come.
Okay, we'll continue to check into that, but right now, we've pretty much decided we're keeping that.
Keep it.
And we will find a use for it, whether it's here or somewhere else.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's too good of a unit that you won't be able to, for the bucks.
What's the range of voltage on that? I know it's a three-phase generator.
Yeah. Well, it's a big one. I mean, it ran half the sewer plant. It should be more than enough to run this building.
Oh, well, yeah. This
So
one
we
here,
won't
this
even
one here,
need
you can do
police
the
one.
10,000.
Right, we'll get rid of the
So
one.
I'll find out more of the specs and stuff, and we'll see about what it costs to do that, so.
Very good.
We'll bring it back.
Ross, is that gonna be covered by your maintenance? Did you build that in?
It can be added. We did have it originally in there, we took it out, pending determination of what we're gonna do with it.
Just adding it back on?
But yeah, we can easily add it back on. And the township is looking for a generator for the senior center, and they're gonna add that on, so.
Well, when we bought that, we set up maintenance on it so that they would start it every month
Oh, yeah,
or
they-
every couple weeks, so that we kept it in operating
Well,
order.
the sewer plant did that. It was part of their
Now-
schedule to
Now
make
you
sure.
move it,
Yeah.
now somebody else has got to take on that responsibility. Or you're gonna go use it and it's not gonna work.
Well, if you put it out here, it'll have an automatic transfer switch on it, and in that automatic transfer switch, it has testing cycles of every Sunday morning at a certain time.
Goes off.
It goes off, and it starts, and it runs for 20 minutes to a half hour, you know, and it goes through its own tests, and then that's it. It just shuts itself down.
It sounds great.
I just wanted to let everybody know, the building got hit again. I don't know if anybody noticed the corner. So I contacted the insurance company. I'm in the process of getting a quote from the guy that did the siding and the gutters when he did it, what, a month ago, 2 months ago. One thing he suggested doing was putting a cement pole on the corner.
Yep.
He's gonna put it in the quote. I just wanted to let you guys know that's not gonna be covered by insurance. That'd be a
Sounds
portion
like
that
it'd
we
be
have.
money well spent.
I don't know what else to do, because this is like the 5th time this has happened
Was it
probably in
the-
2 years.
The mail truck?
It was somebody dropping off Google packages to the mail. So the mail trucks have been great. They've been backing in. It's these box trucks that don't come very often. And
No, they-
That day.
That shouldn't be on
Yeah,
our insurance, that should be on their insurance.
they'll go after them.
No, yeah,
I'm
our-
sure.
our
Yeah,
insurance
they have
company-
the police report, they have,
So what they do, Lau, is they'll look at the
Everything.
police report, and our insurance company will go after,
yes.
because it's an auto, so
Yeah.
under that policy, they cover any property damage.
Right.
So our insurance company will contact them and submit
Yeah.
the invoice.
Yeah.
So-
It's just, this has just gotten, the building just got done.
I think we could prohibit those larger trucks from trying to negotiate that.
Well, I mean, the UPS truck, the FedEx guy, they're great. They make it. It's
They're
that they
here.
hire people,
But
well,
you're
I won't
Yeah.
say it here,
That can
but
drive.
that
Yeah.
maybe don't have the right, skills
Yes.
to make that turn. And yeah, so anyways, so I'm working on that. I just wanted to.
At least they stopped.
Well, they had no choice
Tried to.
because,
Oh.
because one of our police officers made sure they stopped. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can feel it when they hit the building. It shakes in there. So.
That was an earthquake.
No, I was not here. I tried to get in the morning and everything was blocked. So
Yeah,
yeah,
kids walk down, I didn't hit it.
I didn't hit it.
But it lines up.
Yeah.
With the truck.
Very good, thank you. Any community events?
Concerts in the park.
Concerts in the park.
Killer bug this
How many
weekend.
have more?
We have 4 more after this one, there's a total of 9. This will be the 5th.
Very good.
It's been going well.
It's a great
We've-
band.
we've had some-
Yeah.
We've had some issues with bands canceling, but I've covered it. and
Yep.
It's not easy to get to fill in, but it's working out okay.
Most bands
Anytime
know
you
other
need to fill in.
bands, so
Yeah.
that's helpful.
You can
when
get
they know
last
what I'm
name.
saying.
Right.
Very good, thank you. We don't have a closed session tonight. And I'm going to entertain a motion for adjournment.
Time is 7:44, I'm moving to adjourn.
So, second?
Clark,
Yep.
any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.